Welcome back to Marvel Maniac and MCU After Show. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest, back with you to talk about a very special episode of Agatha All Along. Today the show took some turns and some twists, and the road, you don't want to stumble off the road. We learned this in the first time they entered the road. I am freaking out at how awesome this episode was, and the ending beat of the episode, huge reveal. It only means really cool and good things, and I don't know how Marvel knew that this was going to be their best show. Did they know? I think they did, because shows that they did not deem worthy of being their best, they just put all up at once, like Echo, which I liked. I liked Echo. We could talk about that too. But we're here to talk about Agatha All Along today. And so there are some big moments in this episode that kind of redefine some of the characters like Agatha and Teen, and giving Teen a little bit more of a history and letting us know a little bit of a hint that he is Wanda Maximoff's kid. And I just am kind of confused at that whole idea that he was put into somebody else. I don't understand how that works, but if it is Wanda's kid, I mean, they give him the headdress, the Scarlet Witch headdress, and it's a white head. It's a white version, silver. So that was the huge ending moment. But we got to talk about this episode. This episode from start to finish. Let me remind you, this is the shortest episode of the series thus far at 32 minutes. And whenever Marvel has a short runtime on a show, I'm like, oh, here comes the action. And yeah, this episode had a lot of action and big kind of shocking moments and revelations about who Agatha really is deep down. Is she a redeemable character? A question I've had from the beginning, and a question most likely answered tonight. And the answer is no. I don't know how they'll redeem her. It'll have to be a sacrifice play, and it'll only partially redeem her. Similar to the Scarlet Witch. She did some pretty messed up stuff for her to come back. I don't know how she can redeem. The witches are bad. The MCU witches, they've been stirring up trouble in phase 5 and 4. Multiverse saga, more like the Scarlet Witch and Agatha All Along saga. Okay, it's kind of like its own little saga though. This is definitely a sequel series. Okay, title of the episode this week is Darkest Hour, Wake Thy Power. The minute I learned this was Agatha's trial, I got worried about the title. The quick summary for the episode was the coven is fleeing under the blood moon, Agatha's child. Ooh, I just Freudian slip saying Agatha's child instead of trial. So, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I don't know about Nicholas Scratch. I thought Nicholas Scratch was going to come up as Teen. There was a chance for me. I didn't actually think they'd make him Wanda's kid, and there's still lots of explaining to do about that. But I thought that even though Rio last week said it wasn't, and she seemed to accept it, I kind of thought that maybe, just maybe, he was Agatha's child, and she doesn't even remember. So there was a chance of that, but that quickly is pretty much off the table now. I mean, they're leaning towards him being Wanda's son. Does he know that specifically yet? No. I don't know. He's got the headdress. We don't know. Miss Teen is one of the most sus and mysterious characters we've had in the show, and he's a regular teenager, but he has so much writing on the what's his name and why can't we know his history? Why can't anyone be told that? It's not just Agatha he hides it from. He's not allowed to say certain things. And if this spell goes two ways, doesn't his mom have to be alive to keep that going? Or when she dies, does it go away? I don't know. Maybe that's telling us that the Scarlet Witch is alive. I'm 5 minutes in and we're reveling at the end of the episode right at the beginning, but that's okay. because we all just finished it. And the Salem 7 are really creepy. And from the beginning, I really did think it was like the witches of Agatha's coven and her mom that just turned into like Dementors or something. And they're like a lot like Dementors or the Lord of the Ring wraiths, like cloaked. I'm not saying, I would say it's almost like homaging those movies. You know, they're so filled with magic themselves. And this show's very original, and it clearly draws from a lot of like sources and, you know, the history of witches, and it's a typically amazing Marvel show. This is becoming my favorite show. This episode was like one of the biggest episodes of a Marvel TV show ever, if in my opinion. Like, maybe it's just because I'm in the thick of it, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I think there was something really special about it, and I think Agatha All Along is probably going to be one of like the best shows that Marvel's ever made by the end of this, and I'm putting it in now. I knew something was going to go down when they did like the previously on Agatha. They even showed the scene before it said previously on. It showed Agatha taking her coven's power. So I was like, oh man, and then it cuts to like the Salem 7, and I'm like, that's got to be directing it, you know, being directed and nodded that is her former coven. Well, we later learn when Agatha's talking to her mom as a ghost along with everyone else that it's the children of those witches from that coven. So it's similar. Lilia has this vision, you know, she has visions and stuff, and she always kind of like, sometimes she spaces out into nowhere, nothing land, which I think we'll probably dive into very soon, if not the next episode, but I don't even know where the show's going after this episode. But anyway, she sees that the Salem 7 followed them through one of their portals, or the original, I don't know how, but they're on the road and they're chasing them and they're coming, and it's scary. And they make themselves brooms out of like big tree branches, and it's this very high moment of the episode. Like they're being hunted, but like once they get up in the air, it's like kind of like a big high before a big, like the big low that's to come. And you know, it is a little scary for them because the road pulls them down, and I gotta say, I love the creepy laugh of Rio's. She has such a witch, a very witchy laugh. And that's one of the two very witchy things that like mannerisms that came from two of our biggest characters. I gotta say, when Agatha's like kind of like looking at Teen at the end after he says he can't do it, she gets this look on her face, and the way she like looks at him and comes in close, a little bit ominous of like the Green Goblin. Like she walks really close to him and kind of in a like witchy tone, she's like, "Are you sure?" Like it's sort of giving me Wizard of Oz Green Witch vibes. And then I think, oh, is that what the Green Witch means? Are we gonna see the Green Witch Aubrey Plaza like dressed up like, is it Wizard of Oz? You know what I mean? Like, is her skin gonna turn green like Amora's? You know, probably not. Anyway, they land at the next trial, and this is the blood moon, which signals that it's Agatha's trial. They're all in 1980s sleepwear, and it's a nice little fun premise they have, you know, for this one. Against all of the craziness that happens, they're at a slumber party. Teen reads all the rules for the game, and it says not to mess or make fun of or whatever, you know, play around with the spirits or they'll damn you or something like that. And, you know, everyone looks at Agatha, and she definitely does mock the spirits immediately when they play the first Ouija board. It says Mrs. Hart was the person that they were communicating with, and Agatha like pretends to be possessed by Mrs. Hart and starts talking like her, and one of them says she Agatha's faking, and she was. I'm like, oh, dang. And then the board starts like spelling more like anxiously, like their hands are moving through the letters really fast, and the board spells death, and it spells punish. Punish Agatha is what they have to do. They're not supposed to take their hand off the Ouija board, and Agatha rips her hand off. And there's just horrible noises, like these horrible loud noises, and Lilia says something like, this is worse than the first time. You know, what is she talking about? You know, is she time traveling or something like that? And the board stops and everything stops when Jen points out, we have to punish Agatha. And then the spirits calm and everything calms. That's what the board says. We have to punish Agatha. And Agatha doesn't like this idea, obviously. Then comes this moment where Agatha, after she fake possessed, she did we got a boy who cried wolf moment, and she really gets possessed, and it's terrifying. It's kind of like the contortion you've seen out of the Salem 7 or out of Rio's entrance in the last episode. Let me just talk a second about Alice and how I said I didn't understand her story last week. I watched the episode again today, and I mean, the story was very straightforward. I don't know what I was confused about. I completely understand that Alice's mom was in a band, and they rewrote and it popularized the version of The Witch's Road. And the road, it was also referred to by Alice's mom to Alice that it would save her in one way or another. Like, how now? How? She's dead. Like that's just a part of this episode. That's just a singular moment. And not the most singular moment. There's so many moments in this short episode. This is the mid-season finale, in my opinion. They only have 9 episodes, so this was 5. We're just jumping over halfway, and this was meant to be a banger. And boy, does it deliver. Boy, does it deliver. When Agatha is fully possessed, Rio genuinely is concerned for her. She was like, are you okay? Like, she constantly, time and again, shows concern for Agatha and defends Agatha. She loves Agatha. And that's her, like she said last week, Agatha is her scar. She was referring to Agatha. She didn't say that directly. So I'm keeping my rundown very simple today just because we all saw the episode. There's a lot of action, so I'm not going to narrate every action scene. I want to get to the main points, and I think this might end up being one of our shorter episodes, similar to how Agatha has her shorter episode, and it's one of the biggest of the series. I think our episode is going to match because it brought me up to that energy level of like, oh my God. Payoff, just so much payoff in this episode after 4, and there's so many mysteries still to be solved, like Lilia's what happens to Lilia, where does she go? That happens to me sometimes, like when I'm spacing out and I'm like, oh yeah, whoops, I forgot what I was talking about. That happens to me more than I'd like to admit, to be honest with you. I'm like, oh, I kind of relate to her, but I think that's something very magical happening to her. I think she might be jumping between past, future, and present. She might have a time travel thing going on. Her powers are everywhere, so I still think no matter the ending, we're still going to find out. The next trial, who knows? Maybe we'll be under that ground that they were all sucked into, and maybe Teen will follow them down. But let's just continue the episode because I got a couple things to say about that last moment and a couple of points. But Agatha's mom appears. And if you don't remember, Agatha's mom was the main witch of the coven she was in. And she was basically the one who condemned her the first time. She told her, she tells Agatha, you were born evil. I should have killed you when you were a baby and you came out of me. And I mean, that's kind of, maybe that would give me mother issues for sure. But I didn't know if Agatha knew that she was going to come into contact with the ghost version of her mom again. So Agatha's mom wants her to stay. Like, she gets to keep Agatha, possess Agatha, and that's how they win, and they punish Agatha and move on and go out. And Rio disagrees with this, and it starts to show Agatha being dragged away by the spirits as her mom, because her mom's pure evil demon level now. And she's trying to possess her, and one witch sees the suffering and the pain that Agatha's going through and comes in to save her life, and that is Alice. Alice pulls out this orange magic that I hadn't seen out of her yet and saves Agatha's life. And just as Agatha is being saved and seems relieved of being taken over, you only see a look on her face of the look of an opportunist, and reminiscent of what she did to her mom and her original coven. After even being completely saved by Alice, Agatha takes Alice's powers until Alice is dry and dead like a raisin in the sun. Used and abused and dead, and that is unredeemable. Agatha, it's unfreaking-deemable. And this is just a full villain moment for her and for Agatha. And Agatha all along was honest with the witches and said, it's a free-for-all now that we're down here. And, I mean, nobody took her seriously, I guess. I didn't. I didn't think she'd do that. I think she wouldn't. Dang it, I think she wouldn't do that to freaking Alice. And Alice had her episode last week and got her story kind of like full circled and sang the song that her mom wrote for her and defeated the demon. And Alice was on a set path to get to the end of the Witch's Road in honor of her mom wanting her to do that. That's just gone. That plotline is just deleted because Agatha is evil. And we knew this, yet it still surprises us because of what I'm guessing is something that, like, you get used to shows and tropes, and you kind of can expect what's coming with a lot of certain movies, or you kind of get a gut feeling on where this is going. But in this show, it keeps taking turns, like on the road, metaphorically and literally, like so many turns with Agatha and who she is and how does she really feel. When is she acting? When is she being goofy? We don't know. So it's like kind of like unveiling like what's under the mask of Agatha, the true heart and soul. And it took Nicholas Scratch, what the Ouija board was trying to say, to calm Agatha and end the trial and let the trial be open. But the thing is, Agatha, it was too late because Agatha killed Alice, and I'm shooken up by that. I'm not disappointed. I don't think the show's bad at all for that. I'm disappointed, and Agatha, I would say this is one of the most badass, brave directions you could take the show. You're killing off likable, awesome new characters for the sake of a really good story. So Alice is dead. The trial's complete. They're free to leave, and they do. The first one to actually leave, while Teen is just grabbing for someone to help him save her. There's got to be something you could do, he says. He's kind of a pure. He's got good in him. And that's what maybe makes me think you're a lot like your mother came from Agatha just a few moments later. We see Agatha out on the road alone before everyone else catches up with her. There's this moment where we see a little bit of that orange magic in her hand, and it just kind of dissipates real quickly. You could tell she's fulfilled in having any bit of magic and power in her. She's a power-hungry witch, and she feeds off the innocent. And she's insanely likable. And I care about her, and that's why this show is so good. It makes you question your own morality. Shows like Breaking Bad do that, but this Disney Plus show about Witch's Coven and following up a spin-off on a wonderful show that everyone loved from Marvel. They are doing the show so much right, showing what a real bad guy is in a long-term form, and what it doesn't matter what they do. They can't redeem her. I don't know how you redeem her. Like Loki is redeemed after Avengers, it's kind of hard to imagine that happening. It happens, but I really think that Agatha is even more of a villain. It's way more personal, the people who are dying in her path. Loki wanted to become a king and wanted to rule, and it came from a place of maybe jealousy of where of who he was in his father's eyes, and the fact that he's entitled to a throne. But he just was redeemed in the show Loki, and it did a really great job. But you'll never forget that scene where he's taking that guy's eye out in the Avengers. Like, he was that person. Part of his story was growing and being a better person from that. So Agatha can still, in quotes, redeem herself, but what I'm saying is, it just can't take away. You can't forget, and you'll never will, what she's capable of. And it makes you kind of be weary of Agatha, our main character. Teen goes to Agatha again, and is very accusational about Alice, which fair, like freaking fair. But Agatha, it's kind of like looking him up and down, and he says, "Is this what it means to be a witch? Like doing things selfishly just for you and letting people die and whatnot." And he's like, "I don't want to do it. That's not me." And the most sinister look I've ever seen. And she asks Teen, I keep calling Teen Nicholas because I was thinking that that's Agatha's son, but it's not. And she asks him, "Are you sure?" Like in a very witchy tone. And just at that moment, the two witches behind her, Lilia and Jen, they start to walk towards Agatha and Teen, and they just throw Agatha off the road, and she starts sinking, and she looks at Teen for help. And I mean, like, he doesn't want this to be happening, but he also doesn't want to jump in to help her. And then we can kind of see, like, they have possessed eyes. Like, they're not doing this. Someone's controlling them. They try to take Teen, but in this moment, Teen is just harnessing some power, because the last thing that Agatha said to him before she started walking back down the road was, "You remind me, or you're so much like your mother." And at that gave him power, just knowing that. And he blasted Lilia and Jen back and off the road on accident, and they all got sucked under the mud too. And this is the moment where it hones in on Teen's face, and he has the silver Scarlet Witch looking crown. And that is like chills. I got chills because it's like, blah, the show can't lie to us about Wanda coming back. They might be messing with us and twisting the knife a little bit, but for me, I don't know. This is a sign that Wanda is coming back. She wants kids so bad. I think she can come back from the dead to find out that hers are alive. Just curious how we got here, and I'm really hoping there's a kind of like episode that like fills in a lot of those blanks. Kind of like just like a flashback type sequence that kind of gives us some some of the more of the details and filling in the whole story. I got a feeling they'll do something like that. Like this show has exceeded my expectation around every corner. They can go a lot of directions from here. I feel like Teen is the new protagonist of the show. However, I don't know where Rio was during that last scene. Did anyone else catch her? I didn't. Was it Rio's doing to put them all into the ground? Was that her trial? Was this Rio's plan all along? Does Rio actually not have something to do with this? I don't think Rio was sitting back there mourning Alice. She didn't really know Alice. She got to know her through the song in the last episode. There's a small, tiny little chance that Rio was like doing something to revive Alice back in the house or something like that. But we didn't see it, and we didn't see her. So my assumption is she was behind this. She possessed Lilia and Jen. And the episode ending with that Billie Eilish song, man. You should see me in the crowd. Great song. And it's empowering. And Teen is badass. And the fact that he has powers at all, I mean, it leaves it up in the air if he didn't have that headdress on. He's I don't even know what you call that. Scarlet Sorcerer? But it's not Scarlet, the White Sorcerer. Maybe as a comic book name that I don't know yet. And the Young Avengers vibe, which would probably collaborate really great. Yeah, he's definitely not going anywhere. He's just kind of a show stealer. So I really like him. And now I like him a lot more. I think he's so cool. I have no idea what they're going to do next. Like, is it another trial underground? Will Teen follow them? Or will Teen kind of become the show's anti-hero by going against Agatha, getting to the end of the road, harnessing the power, and defeating Agatha? Or Agatha, in the darkest turn, defeats him because it's a dark comedy Disney Plus Halloween show that will end on October 30th, which is kind of sick. Maybe I'm wrong on that, though. It's very Halloween-y. We got a lot of Halloween vibes. There's only 4 episodes left. Only a few weeks left, too. But that's where we leave our characters. And that's where I'm going to probably leave us today. So I have some slightly exciting news. And it's not the biggest thing, but it is, because we have a new feedback box, and it's very easy to access. All you have to do is go into the description of this episode, and you can click it, and it'll bring you right to a page where you can leave your email and your message. This feedback box is for feedback on the show, obviously, but also if you have theories, questions, anything you want to get to us quick, I'd use that, and it's in the description right now. Just use it to say hi. I'll put certain responses on the show that want to be on the show, like theories or certain messages. I'm not going to be able to put everything. I'm assuming there might be constructive criticism, and yeah, we got to keep it all constructive, keep it positive, but go to the episode description right now and let me know you got this, because I haven't had this feature yet, and I feel like it's really going to help us all connect as Marvel Maniacs. There's also a tip jar down there in the description. You may leave any tip. It goes a long way, but it's not necessary. I'm grateful to have you here either way. Thank you for listening to my show, for your Marvel Agatha All Along after show. Find us on all your social medias, Marvel Maniac Pod. My personal X account is Mr. Honest, MRHON 3ST. Come say hi to any of those accounts. You'll definitely get a hi back. So 3 weeks left, 4 episodes of Agatha All Along. The story is at its most enticing place and only getting better. What are your thoughts? Go to the episode description and let me know. I want to hear your thoughts on this one. Big episode. I can't say that enough. I know I've repeated myself a good couple times this episode. It's because I'm like super excited. It's best episode in Marvel television of the year. And let's just see where this story takes us. I'm with Agatha all along, all through the whole series. Give me your feedback. And again, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, to take your time out of your day to spend some time with me and geek out about superhero TV shows, which have transformed now into shows about witches and trials. And I love it. I just love it. Okay. Until next time, Avengers, disassemble. Or should I start saying, until next time, Maniacs, disassemble. Are we sticking with Maniacs? For now, Avengers, disassemble. See you next time.